Hi guys, Matt Hancock's here and welcome to your first video from your educational templates. What I'd like you to do before you go any further, you can just pause this video now if you wish, if you haven't got your manual in front of you, because you're going to need your manual in front of you and you'll need to turn to the back of the book which has education templates, and we're going to go through the first of your workshops today, which is on cellular health for weight loss. Okay, so you want to go to the back of the books and find the template that looks like this. By the side of that there'll be a notes page, and everything I talk about today is kind of like a brief evaluation of what I'm going to talk to you about, and it will help you really understand the basis of cellular health for weight loss. And this is fundamental for your obviously your understanding of what we're doing and why. Because the Elevate diet has been developed, over years of experience and research, but essentially what we've discovered is that your overall health, okay, is a direct reflection of the health of your cells. Your cells require a constant supply of high quality nutrients, so that's both macronutrients, which is fat, protein and carbohydrate, and micronutrients, water, vitamins and minerals, in order to function. If we fail to give them the quantity or the quality, most importantly, that they need, then quite simply the health of the cells becomes compromised. Now, when enough cells in an organ become compromised, the organ itself will become compromised, and then you will become compromised. Yeah, that to a degree that obviously function deteriorates and we become sick. Now it's literally as simple and as complex as that, okay, which kind of makes real sense if you look at it. Your health is a direct reflection of the health of your cells. So healthy cells will make healthy tissues, make healthy organs, make a healthy body. So if we're 50 trillion cells, we just improve the health of our cells, which will obviously improve the health of our body. So we've discussed already that health issues generally are a result of two interconnected problems: nutritional deficiency and toxic overload. So we're going to look into both of those in more detail now. Basically, we are permanently under assault from toxins on a daily basis. And some people may think that the whole idea of having to detoxify is rubbish. Okay, the body has its own perfectly good detoxification pathways, which basically are your liver, kidneys, colon and skin, and that each of these things happen independent of conscious thought and control, and so we don't really need to be addressed in any other way. The body will just take care of itself. And in the most part that is correct. Okay, our body has a fantastic organs that are great at taking this toxic insult away from our environment by dragging them through a bunch of in-house chemical treatment plants, removing or reconfiguring them into less harmful substances, and then either using them to fulfill some role within the body or excreting them from the body before they do any real harm. And that's kind of the way it works, and it's kind of the way it should work. But unfortunately, on a body that isn't clean and is overly burdened by modern toxic insult, then this really generally does not happen at all. Okay, so what we need to do, because every new toxin added to this internal environment of the body will create a build-up of toxins that soon overwhelm the very organs designed to deal with them, if that makes sense. Yeah, so we need to deal with the toxins because we don't want to overburden the waste disposal system. So what is a toxin? Okay, some people may have not even heard of this concept before. So it basically is any substance which creates an irritating or harmful effect within the body. So there's a list here: obviously drugs, radiation, nicotine, but also thoughts and emotional stress that can toxify the system and can run us down. In our diet, we might have excess sugar, salt, hydrogenated fats, junk food, additives, alcohol, caffeine, carbonated drinks. Okay, all of those have toxins associated with them. Plastic bottles, cling film, packaging, toys, bags, it literally is all around us. Okay, toiletries, makeup, shampoos, shower gels, cleaners, moisturizers. The average woman puts on over 500 toxins daily to her body. Okay, so these are things that we just don't, I think we're unaware of really. Household cleaners, all household cleaners, detergents, bleach, oven cleaners have toxins in. Okay, and they are all harmful to the body. Pollution is all around us, guys. Car fumes, fossil fuel power stations, aircraft exhaust fumes, manufacturing wastes. Okay, we are just taking in this toxic insult all the time, completely bombarded day in, day out. So through detoxification, what we do is we clear and filter toxins and waste and give our body the right conditions to work effectively and efficiently. So the toxins are either neutralized, transformed into something that we will use, or eliminated. Okay, so those three things will happen, all right, when we detoxify. Signs and symptoms of toxicity. Now this is really important to have a look at this list, because a lot of the time we think we're run down, getting flu, getting a cold, and actually it's just an abundance of toxicity that we need to get out of our system. Headaches, back pain, joint pain, nausea. If we get blocked, so constipated, mood changes, skin rashes, anxiety, fatigue. All these things are signs and symptoms of toxicity. There may even be more problems related to toxicity. So really ill health in terms of allergies or asthma or eczema, diabetes, gallstones. All these things would be related to toxicity, and of course weight gain. Now this is I'm a true testament to the fact of having to detoxify to improve our health, because I had asthma. I say had because basically I detox about 3 times a year, every year, and I've been doing that for about the last 4 or 5 years. Religiously, I will just do a cleanse three times a year. And my asthma, that I used to have asthma pretty severe. I used to have to go to school with like a nebulizer. I've been in hospital a few times, sleeping in oxygen tents and things. And I know that as you get older you may grow out of it, but I still had asthma. It was controlled, but I still had asthma. Every time I got a cold, I got a chest infection, etc, etc. Now since, I am touching wood now, but since I cleaned my diet up and really got into the nutritional side of things, my asthma, I don't even take an asthma spray anymore at all. And this is the combination of doing I truly believe, detoxing my system regularly, but also eliminating some of those foods that cause inflammation, which we'll be talking about soon on this video. Yeah, so that's some of the problems related. The benefits of detoxing then, okay, you can actually improve your fertility. I had a couple that were trying for a baby, and they were going to go down the IVF route, and what we suggested was that we cleaned up their diet and sorted the diet out and got them a little bit healthier, because they were both very stressed, very run down, not particularly overweight, but just they just looked like they were carrying a heavy load. And so we cleaned up their diet, and then they obviously got back on the job and things like that, and within 8 weeks from cleaning up their diet, Bob's your uncle, she conceived. So it really, I've seen this firsthand, how powerful it is. So obviously other benefits are weight loss. You're going to rejuvenate your system. You're going to have beautiful radiant skin, clear eyes, clear complexion. People will really notice this. They'll notice how well you look. when you do a detox. You kind of stop looking so grey and drawn out, and you look full of life and radiance. It really is powerful. One of the major benefits I found is that, and that a lot of my clients comment on, is the improved sleep. And if you can improve your sleep and you can improve your rest, you're obviously going to de-stress. So it's great, and your energy is going to be through the roof. So as well as obviously detoxing, we want to be looking at eliminating some of those foods that are going to run your system down. Okay, so the nutritional part of our program we call the elimination diet. Now this is simply eliminating or simply returning to eating foods in a state that's supposed to be eaten, in a way that supports optimal health and in a way that makes you look, feel and perform at your very best. Okay, because like our water supply, for instance, our food supply has been compromised with chemicals, sprays, pesticides. Okay, and these really interfere with our body's biological and chemical and electric signaling systems. Yeah, so and these will lead to faulty processing in the cells. So wherever you can, stick to organic foods, quite simply, the further you'll deviate from. That will help you, because the further you deviate from nature, then obviously the more sick you're going to be, and the closer towards disease you're going to be, because processed foods and foods that are denatured will cause inflammation, and all disease forms in inflammation or inflamed environments. Okay, so what we're trying to do is alkalize your system, make you more healthy through the foods that we eat, by removing those foods that cause acidity within the system. All right. So for the first 21 days of this program, you're going to basically eat clean or stick to this elimination diet. And this we've found that this will enable your body's cells to kind of really start kicking in and being full of life, and you'll have loads of energy, loads of motivation, and it really will support you as you go forward. So I think what we've noticed that really from changing the diet this way, just temporarily, it's just 21 days, what we found is that it means that people generally are living without aches and pains, without being sort of tired most of the time, without relying on stimulants like caffeine and sugar to keep you going, without that abdominal bloating that you get, or stomach cramps, or worse, diarrhea, constipation. Okay, allergies, sensitivities, without sort of skin conditions, maybe rashes, without weight problems, excessive fat retention. Okay, your body will start to just drop fat. Without mood swings, maybe you're suffering with mood swings or depressions, but basically you won't have these diseases and these dysfunctions when you do an elimination diet. Okay, I know it all sounds a bit much, but it seriously is this powerful. Nutrition is, the old saying is, you let nutrition be your medicine, all right, and medicine be our food. That's basically what it is. We're too quick to go down and take pills to kind of solve the ailments. If we go to the root of the problem and supply our body with the right sources of nutrients in the first place, then we can really improve our health that way. So what we're going to be doing then is we're going to be eliminating certain foods that run our system down. So for many people, wheat and gluten slows down your metabolism because it interferes with the digestive system. Modern day processing techniques ensure that wheat has been stripped of pretty much all of its nutrient content, making it, what we would call a nutrient stripped food. And gluten is the kind of sticky substance which binds up your digestive system. If you remember days of kind of making paper mache, well, what makes up the glue is flour and water. All right, and that's essentially what gluten is. So it will bind your digestive tract, which obviously is not going to help you get the most out of your nutrition. We're also going to be eliminating dairy. Now, like wheat and gluten, almost all dairy products have been stripped and heavily processed, yeah? So techniques like pasteurization and homogenization, they kind of take out most of the enzymes that are needed to digest them. So they actually make them a nutrient dead food. All right, so it's actually taking more out of your system than it puts in, and it will actually strip your bones of calcium. A lot of people drink milk because they want the calcium. Actually, it's stripping your bones of calcium because of the way it's processed. And what you need to do is up your seed milks like almond milk and coconut milk, and actually drop out the dairy. Yeah, foods like broccoli, which give you the magnesium. To get calcium, you need magnesium and vitamin D as well. So that combination together is what you really need to do, and you'll get that from greens. All right. We're also going to be taking away alcohol for 21 days. Now, quite simply, alcohol is obviously nutrient deficient. There's nothing in it that gives you anything at all, and it's very, very high in calories. So if we're trying to lose weight, then alcohol needs to go. It's not just the calories that are in the alcohol. It's the food that you'll eat because you're drinking as well. And often a lot of people might find it difficult if they're trying to give up smoking. If they have a drink, they tend to smoke. So we kind of want to just help get it all out. And when you consider that a glass of wine is 250 ml, a large glass of wine, that will contain about 160 calories. So just a couple of glasses of wine of an evening is going to equate to 1,120 calories. So it's not rocket science to know that if we can cut that out, we're going to lose some weight. But that's the only reference to calories I'm ever going to make on this 28-day program. I just wanted to highlight why it's in there, because literally, if we can strip this out, it's the fact that it toxifies the system that makes us hold on to fat as opposed to the calorie content in it. But obviously, a calorie isn't just a calorie, and it will affect your body in different ways. So next up, I want to talk about processed foods. Now, obviously, processed foods need to be eliminated for these 21 days because they've been stripped of all nutrient content. Okay, so they've had artificial flavorings, chemicals added to it. Most pre-cooked foods, packaged meals, most things you're going to have to take out of your system. We need to be eating pretty much cooking our food from whole foods. And although it's going to take a little bit of prep time at the beginning, once you get used to it, you'll find that it's actually pretty easy to do. And then we'll be able to pick foods that are a little bit better, from more convenience food actually that is alright. Okay, and we'll talk you through that later on. So, obviously you're going to be eliminating all pre-cooked foods and takeaways and all that kind of stuff. Right? So anything that's packaged in it is going to be pretty bad for you, but packaged as a meal. Okay? So caffeine, all right? So the reason why you feel as if you need caffeine generally is that, you're probably eating some or most of the above that we've already discussed. And so you feel like you need a caffeine hit to get you through the day. But caffeine actually gradually wears down your adrenal glands, meaning that you have a massive energy fluctuation, and you'll resort to sort of quick fix sugary foods that further disrupt your blood sugars and increase your body's fat storage. All right, I'm going to talk about blood sugars and insulin and all that later on, so I won't go into that now. But basically, caffeine will interfere with the body's adrenal glands, and you need the adrenal glands to be working because they bring everything under control. All right, so you tend to be wanting to cut back on the caffeine. We're going to be whacking in some green tea instead. So this is kind of some of the effects of caffeine, all right? Now, obviously it depends how much you're taking. One coffee a day is not going to give you these side effects, but there's a lot of people out there that I consult with that might be having 8 to 10 cups of caffeine a day, cups of tea or coffee a day, and they will suffer with some of these, 2 or 3 of these at least, issues. A lot of people have anxiety, stress, or insomnia, and then they wonder why when they're having 10 cups of coffee a day So it's important that we do get that out for 21 days. Of course, if you do like your coffee, if you're a bit of a coffee junkie, or if you do like your coffee, daily coffee, then 1 cup a day isn't going to kill you later on, all right? But on the 21 days, I really want you to remove it altogether. So if you do drink a lot of caffeine, what you'll need to do is you'll definitely need to wind down from caffeine for 2 to 3 days before you start taking your healthy starter pack and going through the cleansing program. Okay, we're also going to be removing red meat. Now, it's incredibly difficult to process red meat, right? It takes a long time to digest, which not only slows down your metabolism, but it can decrease your digestive efficiency. So, as well as being incredibly acidic, all right, these factors mean that red meat is not a great tool for weight loss. Okay. Once you're off the initial 21 days, then we'll want to be having red meat, a couple of times a week, once or twice a week. But for 21 days, just eliminate it altogether. All right. That's basically that. Obviously, it goes without saying that we're not going to be having any low-fat or fat-free produce because they're generally just full of chemicals and they're not going to serve your body any good at all. So you'll need to remove low-fat products as well, and sugar, of course. So what we're going to be adding into our diet, I want you to add in clean water. Now, what clean water means is it's not tap water. Okay, you need to get yourself a filter of some description. There's obviously different ones on the market, but you can just literally get a Brita filter for 20 quid, and it's going to take all the impurities out of the water. Our tap water supply has been compromised severely. I'm going to be talking to you about cellular fluids on a later video. So right now all you need to know is you want to be having clean water, and you want to be having about 2 to 3 litres of clean water a day. You want to be adding more, we are going to be adding more plant protein into your diet. So the recipes that you're doing over the 21 days will include a lot of plant protein. So you don't have to get your protein from animal sources all the time. Animal protein is very acidic, and obviously, as I said before, acidic environments really creates an environment for disease. What we're trying to do is alkaline your system. So a lot of vegetable protein and plant protein will be really good. So they'll come in the form of legumes and lentils and peas, beans, quinoa, that kind of stuff. Spirulina is also a very good source of plant protein. Now you're going to have your liquid chlorophyll, which has the same kind of effect as the spirulina, and it's very alkalizing and also very, very high in protein. We're going to add coconut oil and olive oil. So I want you to cook in coconut oil only because it basically keeps its consistency at high temperatures. Olive oil, if you're cooking olive oil, it will hydrogenize. Okay, so it becomes a hydrogenated fat, which is what we don't want. So you'll have extra virgin olive oil cold as a dressing on your vegetables and on your salads when cook in coconut oil. All right. And then we want to be eating tons of vegetables and fruits. These are alkalizing. They are full of antioxidants, which will help you against the free radical damage. All right. And basically, you want to be eating them on a 1-to-4 ratio. So one serving of fruit for 4 ratio of one serving of fruit to 4 servings of vegetables. You want to really up your vegetables. Most people have it the other way around. And the trouble with eating loads of fruit is that they're very high in sugar or fructose, which obviously turns to glucose very, very quickly and then gets stored as fat. So fruit it's great for you. It's full of antioxidants. But what you want to do is probably add some nuts or some protein, right, in the source of nuts and fats with your fruit. You'll notice in your program that you're having, you're never having fruit on its own, and it's for that reason, because it will bring down the GI of the fruit, so you don't get that fat storage. Okay. So this is kind of what your daily plan is going to look like. All right, we're going to limit the toxin and free radical damage from our system by cleansing out our system and eating the right sort of foods over these 21 days or more. Okay, I want you to try and get into a habit of getting to bed around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. The reason is we've got a natural body clock or natural biorhythm, and we have physiological repair or physical repair in those 4 hours from 10:30 to 2:30 approximately. Okay, and because you're going to be doing, although the training you're doing is quite short, it's quite intense, and you do need to get that rest and that repair. The psychological repair comes from 2:30 to 6:30, so generally that's your 8 hours sleep, and you do want to try and get 8 hours sleep in a night. If you're not getting that now, then start dressing it, okay, because this is essential for you to get the most out of this program. You're also going to be having your meals every 3 hours, okay, and it's going to have your macronutrients. So your carbohydrates are about 40%, 30% from fat and 30% from protein with every single meal, okay? So a snack no longer is a banana on the rush. It actually, you have to make sure that that's got fat, protein and carbs all in one meal. And although it's only a small meal, I class it as a meal because it's got the 3 macronutrients in there, okay? So we're going to be improving the amount of vitamins and minerals you've got in your diet by the foods that you're eating, okay? We will want to be having a multivitamin at some point, okay? You can either start now or you could start on day 21 when we finish this first elimination program, because otherwise you might feel like you're pill popping a little bit. But I will talk to you why it's essential to supplement with a decent organic multivitamin and mineral, and also an essential fatty acid in a later video. But bear in mind that they are going to come into the program. They are essential for your weight loss goals, okay? And obviously, some part in the day you're going to train. So you want to be planning out your day so that you've got your meals prepped and you've got the time in your diary that you're going to train, because you need to train a minimum of 3 times a week on this program. So with water, 2 to 3 litres, but if you want to be a little bit anal and calculate exactly how much water you need to intake, then just do your weight in kilos, times that by 0.033, and that will equal the amount of litres that you should be having in a day. Okay, so that's the first video out the way. I hope you found that useful and made plenty of notes. If you have any questions whatsoever about the cleanse protocol or the elimination diet that you're about to embark on for the next 21 days, then please give me a shout. You can contact me on my email if you need, but it probably is that other people may have the same concerns that you're having, so just whack it up there on the forum. Go live, get it on the forum, any questions you may have. We want to make sure that you get the very, very most out of this program. So good luck with it, okay? And I'll catch you next time. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.